Hey guys, it's Helly and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking about the beautiful books that I have read in the month of April. Most of the books that I read were pretty amazing and I can't wait to start today's video. Note that due to the pandemic, due to the lockdown, I was not able to access new paperbacks. So these books were read in the digital format. For audiobooks, I use Storytel, which is an audiobook streaming service, and with my free trial storytel.com/Helly, you can read at least 10 to 20 books in this pandemic for free on Storytel, and you can access like a collection of 1 lakh plus audiobooks. So storytel.com/Helly will give you this free trial of 30 days, after which it is just $2.99 per month. That's less than 10 rupees a day, and you can access like so many amazing books that would have otherwise costed you a lot. Most of the expensive books that I can't afford or which have not even come to India yet, I get them on Storytel, especially in the non-fiction category. So maybe you should check it out. And secondly, if you want to read ebooks, you can buy them as Kindle ebooks, or you can get a Kindle Unlimited or Prime Reading subscription. Prime Reading subscription basically comes with Amazon Prime itself. If you are a Prime subscriber and if you have not used Prime Reading yet, what are you waiting for? But the collection is very less. However, it's good for a one-time use. So now that you know what were the resources I used, let's get into today's video. The first book that I finished reading in the month of April was Letters to Milena. This book is basically a collection of letters that Franz Kafka wrote to his beloved Milena, and some of the lines of this book are so beautiful. I'll read a few of them out. I miss you deeply, unfathomably, senselessly, terribly. For those of you who lovers are separated during this COVID, yep, I hope you can relate. I'm tired, can't think of anything, and want only to lay my face in your lap, feel your hand on my head, and remain like that through all eternity. These letters encompass a beautiful sense of longing, and one of my favorite quotes is this one: written kisses don't reach their destination, rather they are drunk on the way by the ghosts. Also, I hope that you know at the end of letters we often write yours lovingly or yours, after that you write your name, right? So in one letter Kafka writes yours, just yours, and he in the brackets he writes, now I'm even losing my name. It was getting shorter and shorter all the time, and now it is yours, just yours. This is such a beautiful realization. I loved it. The next book I want to talk about is a non-fiction book, which was Attitude is Everything. I read this book as an audiobook, and I actually featured it in my 24-hour reading vlog. So if you want to see me reading it, summarizing this book, you can check that video out. This book was pretty good, but a lot of people told me, and even I think, that Jeff Kinney's book on Attitude might be better. Not sure about that yet. However, this was good for a one-time read, and it was a pretty short read, about a couple of hours. So maybe you should check it out if you are short on time and just read it. I read 2 books by Yoshihiro Tatsumi. He's basically a manga writer, and he writes these uncanny stories that you can be creeped out by, grossed out by, etc. Yoshihiro Tatsumi writes stories that will take you totally out of your comfort zone. I will never suggest these books for anyone who's not mature. The stories often include a lot of taboos like fetishes and like really weird fetishes. They also include incest. So if these things trigger you, please don't read these books. But if you want your mind to expand, if you want to be mind blown, if you want to be made to feel pretty awkward, yes, maybe you should read his books. I had read one of his books, Abandoned in Old Tokyo, a couple of months back, and I wanted to read all his books immediately, but somehow I just kept putting it off. Finally, I was able to read the 2 remaining this month, and I'm pretty happy about that. Next book is called Black Boy. I was exposed to Black Boy when I was taking this course by Yale, and it is completely free. Anyone can access it, by the way. There are a couple of courses available from Yale University online that are totally accessible for everyone with the internet. And in this curriculum, this was the American literature since 1945. Black Boy was the very first book, and it's a book by Richard Wright. So I read it, and it was beautiful. It talks about racism in a way that had never been used before. The futility of the binary rule, that is attaching white with good and black with bad, white with strong, black with weak, white with good and black with evil. This binary rule is so flawed, and this binary rule is settled everywhere. Let's talk about things like women and men. If we associate terms like brave and strong with men, we immediately see, since female is the opposite of male, females should be weak and they must not be courageous, which is definitely not the case. So this weird rule of binaries is exposed very well in Black Boy. There are some beautiful incidents in Black Boy that I would probably talk about in my live sessions, so please join them. But overall, please read this book if you don't read any other fiction book in your life. The next book was also a non-fiction, and it was on the life of Simone de Beauvoir. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex is one of the best books ever written on feminism, and these days, due to the rise of pseudo-feminism, I really think more people should be reading the books that started the movements. The movement that started as a fight for equality has turned really ugly these days. The environment is really toxic, and I'm referring to the recent locker room incidents. I don't know like what lies ahead, but I am pretty sure that people get better when they read books. So why don't you read books? Please read books, propagate the ideas. And there are some beautiful ideas in The Second Sex that highlight how women have been oppressed for a long time and how they should fight for equality. One of my favorite quotes from this book, and probably one of the most famous, is that one isn't born but rather becomes a woman, which basically means that no one becomes a woman immediately as soon as they are born. They are taught how to be a woman. They are taught to keep quiet. They are taught to be passive. They are taught to submit to patriarchy, and this is applicable for even men. Like, men are not born men, they become men by social conditioning, and this social conditioning is extremely flawed, which is because this is made by flawed individuals. So flawed individuals make a flawed society, and this flawed society facilitates the growth of new flawed individuals who keep facilitating this. It's an endless cycle, yes, and I love reading books like this which help you think the whole society can be better in general if only they read more books. The next book was one of the very few books that I didn't like, and this book was called Encyclopedia of Early Earth. It was pretty nice, but just not kind of the graphic novel I want to read, and this book is pretty hyped, so I had very high expectations which were definitely not met. If you are looking for graphic novels to read, I would rather recommend that you read Yoshihiro Tatsumi, although like there are a lot of taboo things there, but it's definitely more enjoyable than Encyclopedia of Early Earth. It's rather like a storyteller's treatise, but just not up to the mark. The next book I want to talk about is Kim Ji-young, 1982. This book was read by me in the 24-hour readathon, so if you have watched it, you know about it already. It talks about a girl growing up in a patriarchal society and the oppression that she faces. This book is set in South Korea. Of course, this is a very, very male-dominated society. There are a lot of incidents in this book that are very, very significant, but one of my favorite was where this girl and a couple of other girls, they go to a job interview, and the interviewer asks them, what are you going to do if you are faced with a man who's making advances towards you in a meeting or in a professional place? And the first thing that Ji-young thinks is that, would you ask the same question to a man? Probably not. And this really made me think that how things are so different for women to struggle, etc. And by the way, none of these women get the jobs. This book also talks about the wage gap, the glass ceiling, etc., which are not something I really see people talking about. They really should. What I think is very important about reading books like this is that recognizing that we are living in the same society, if not like exactly in that place, but it is prevalent here as well. The next book I read was The Outsider by Alvare Camus. A book about a man whose mother dies, and he's just not reacting socially. He's not crying, and he doesn't show any outward signs of emotions. Yes, he says that I wish mother had not died, but he doesn't show it outwardly. He doesn't behave in the way the society wants him to, and that really affects the people. The book has a beautiful line that people are conditioned by the society all the time, and if someone is not behaving in the way society wants him to, they will criticize him, because such a person threatens the society itself. The society might collapse with the advent of such individuals, and that was pretty powerful as a statement. The very first line of this book is very moving, and it's something like, mother died today or yesterday, I don't know. The next book was The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I hope that I pronounced that right. This book is about 5 girls from the same family, and all of them have this suicidal tendency, and all of them are pretty young, and the boys of this like locality are obsessed with these girls because there's like a melancholy aura about them. They're mystified by these girls, especially one of the sisters. The book starts with the suicide of one of the sisters, and it follows about how the other sisters and the family and others in the society in general are affected by it, and it really reflects how certain events shape how we live. I love this book, and I love the ending of this book primarily. I didn't think I will, but I did. Last month I read books by bell hooks. All of them were pretty amazing. I recommended them so badly in my previous videos. I talked about all about love primarily and the will to change in my video on love. Lately I was very shy to make it, but it's okay, I did, and my parents liked it too. Yay. The last book that I started in the month of April, after which I stopped reading for a while, was Lady Chatterley's Lover. I have no idea why, but Lady Chatterley's Lover just did not work for me. I was trying to enjoy it. I think I read about 20-30% of it, but I just can't finish it. I'm using audiobook to read it. I'm trying to read it as ebook, but no matter which format I read it in, I can't make enough progress. Let me know how many books you read in the month of April. I hope that you like the books that I picked out. By the way, I really want to say this. Since I love the title of this book, particularly Lady Chatterley's Lover, I'm gonna call my lover Lady Chatterjey's Lover. I think that sounds cool, doesn't it? Anyway, just wanted to mention that out of nowhere. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure you give this video a big fat thumbs up. The link to a free trial of Storytel will be in the description below. If you plan to read any of the books, let me know in the comment section below. A lot of you keep asking me if they accept credit cards or debit cards. They accept only credit cards as of now, but I'll make a video when they start accepting debit cards. And yeah, I'll be back with another video next week. Till then, bye bye.